Hi guys, this is just a quick WoW video, but there won't be much gameplay in this, or at least there probably isn't going to be. At the time I'm recording this, I'm just recording the audio, so I was going to stick in some footage of the new Timeless Isle from the public test realm, but currently the public test realms are down, so I might not be able to get footage of that. If I can't, then I might just stick in any old rubbish footage, or maybe just a still image. But this video is really mostly me talking, because there's a couple of big issues about WoW that have come up recently and have caused a lot of controversy, and I thought that I'd talk about them because, not that my opinion really matters, but I think that a lot of people are taking things out of context, not looking at the bigger picture, and maybe we just need to talk about things a bit. And the two things I want to talk about are the new Blizzard in-game store, which was announced, and the drop in subscribers. WoW's now gone down to, I think it was 7.7 million, which is its lowest point in about 6 years or so. So that's caused a lot of controversy. People saying it's dying and whatnot. First off, I want to talk about the Blizzard in-game store. Now, the reason this has caused a lot of controversy is because recently free helms were released and shown as being some of the things that you can buy in the new in-game store. And this was very sketchy to people. They're called the Hood of Hunger in Darkness, the Crown of Eternal Winter, and Jewel of the Fire Lord, which you've probably seen on the WoW starter screen when you've logged in. And those are about £15 each, I think. Let's have a quick look. Oh, £10. £10. My apologies. So people were having a go because they figure, oh, you know, now they're selling armor, and you know, it might not have stats, but how long until you can just buy a full tier set and all that nonsense? And people don't like the fact that being able to buy things and do microtransactions is normally seen as a part of a free to play model. And so, because WoW is you've got to pay for the actual game, and then you've got to pay for the subscription, and then now they're asking for money for extra items. It's kind of like a lot of people saying, well, oh, they're just trying to get as much money out of us as possible, and you're just going to be able to buy your way to level 90. Especially because recently a potion that gives you 1 hour of 100% experience points is also going to be for sale on the in-game store. So that's caused a lot of controversy because people are saying that it's just going to end up being a pay to win scenario, and there's no real foundation for this. It's just conspiracy theories essentially. It holds the same weight. There is no point in Blizzard making that sort of change, because if you think about it, their entire game is built on the concept of making a character, leveling it up, gearing it up, and getting into raids. If you make leveling it up super quick, so like you could just get to 90 in one go, in like a day or something, then that would completely undermine the whole leveling aspect of the game. If they made it so you could buy armor that you could actually use, that was practical, had stats and whatnot, that would defeat the object of the game, because, as I say, you're gonna be circumventing the whole item level requirement for raids. You're just going to be going straight through it, and both of those things, leveling up and gearing up, are part of Warcraft. Sure, they can be grinding. God knows I hate leveling up a new character and gearing them up, and I just recently geared up a shaman, and I'm probably not going to level up another character till the next expansion. To be honest, I don't see me playing much more on this shaman. It's just something I do when I get bored. But a lot of people don't like. I mean, most people don't like leveling. And the first time it's okay because it's all new and sparkly. But the second time it's just a grind. So a lot of people over the years have been saying, give us some sort of bonus to help us level up quicker. And so, the rested bonus helps, and they've reduced the amount of experience that you need to reach level 90. As they made it quicker and quicker, it was definitely much easier to level my Death Knight and my Shaman to level 90 than it was my Hunter, because I leveled my Hunter to 90 when the expansion came out, and it has made it a lot quicker. But with the new potion that they're adding into the in-game store, that's going to make it even quicker. And I think people are just annoyed that it's not free. I think that people want like a free 90 or something, but then they complain about that as well. So they'll just say, "Oh, everyone's just getting free 90. There's going to be just loads of alts everywhere, and it's going to defeat the purpose of the game." The one thing that I've kind of come to accept about Warcraft is that no one is happy with any choice that the developers make. The developers listen to what people say, they do what people say, and then people complain that they're just listening to people and doing not what they want, but they're listening to other people. And you can't really win. There's going to be people that hate on Warcraft no matter what they do. But I would say just try and keep some context as it. As I say, if they did do items that benefit the player and actually change the game in some way, then I would probably leave WoW, because it would undermine the reason I play it. And a lot of people would, understandably. But Blizzard have said they have no intention to do that. And people have been acting like the new in-game store is like this revolutionary new concept. There's already a store that you could buy mounts and whatnot from. It's just now they've made it accessible in game, and they're giving a few new items in it that are cosmetic, just like the mounts and whatnot, or help you level faster, which I would imagine is more useful to people who've leveled up one character already. If you've not played the game before and you use it to level up your first character, I'd say that's kind of foolish. You should level up a character the first time completely legitimately, because you're going to learn a lot leveling up. But there's no reason to believe that they're going to change the game. And I've heard a lot of people say, well, it's going to, put me at a disadvantage, and it's not. There's no foundation for that whatsoever. It does nothing. It does not affect you whatsoever. If you don't want to buy any of these things, don't buy them. You don't have to buy this transmog armor. It's not going to give you better stats. It's just for looks. You don't have to buy the leveling potion. If you want to level up, once, and you want to level up legitimately, and you think you're disadvantaged because other people are leveling up faster, that's pointless. I mean, you don't have to level up at a certain time. I saw one person say that they might have to level up all their alts and by a deadline and whatnot. It's like, really? I mean, you don't need to do that. If you choose to do that, then so be it. You're putting yourself at disadvantage. You're putting those barriers down on yourself, but you level up at your own pace. And if you want to level up faster, then figure out the best way to do so. There's leveling guides out there. You can choose Pandarum because they've got the well-fed bonus, but not the well-fed bonus, but the resting bonus. There's ways of leveling up faster. It's really no big deal if it's going to take you a tad longer. It's not a game-changing thing. And I don't see Blizzard adding anything that's gonna change things even more for the worse. So I think all these implications and accusations are completely without value, and I do think they're going to add things in the future that are going to make WoW not easier, but are going to perhaps help out in places that people needed help out in. As I say, if loads of people have been complaining about how long it takes to level up, and as expansions come out and the level cap increases, that's only going to get worse, and so these things are naturally very welcome. The only disagreement I have is that, personally, I would give a default experience buff to a player's second and onwards. And so you level up a character, and any future characters you make get a 10%, 20% experience boost. And that increases, like, say you have 3 characters, the character you make after that gets increased by 20%, etc. Just because if you play through the game once, you don't really need to level up a character again and see every little thing. You might try it from a different perspective, like different zones or whatnot, but you don't need it that much. And I think like they should have done that instead of making it something you pay for. That's my only objection, really. Other than that, no big deal. I'm probably not going to buy the potion. I'm not that fussed about it. I'll just level it up normally. I think the main thing that people are worried about, other than the fact that it might break the game somehow, which is obviously bollocks, but I think the main thing that people are annoyed about is the fact that WoW asks you to pay for the game and the expansions, asks you to pay for a fairly heavy subscription fee every month, and now they're putting more stuff out there for you to buy. It's like, do you really need all that money? Can you not just give something back to your fan base a bit? And that does kind of lead on to my next point, which is subscriptions. A lot of people, with the in-game store and whatnot, people have been leaving. I think they've just seen WoW going in a direction that's a bit different to what they really want. But to be honest, every time something changes, there's someone saying, "Oh, I'm ending my subscription tomorrow," and it's like, no, you're not. You might stop playing for a couple of months, and then you'll come back in the next expansion. You know it. You're not that special. It's like when people say, "Oh, I'm gonna leave," and you've lost a fan. It's like, well, bye then. You're not it's not like Chris Metzen's gonna go, "Oh, we've lost Muffin Top 45. Hold the press." Send them an email and apologise. Give them $3.90s and no, they don't have to pay subscription ever again. It's like the developers don't really care if you unsubscribe. I mean, loads of people do. Obviously they do, but not you in particular. If you've got a problem with the game, fair enough. But the whole "I'm ending my subscription tomorrow" thing is just childish. It's not going to make people pay attention to you. If you really want to make a point, then make it concisely and have some evidence to back it up, and not just "you can see where this is all going" sort of thing. Because more often than not, when people say that, there's not really much backup for it. But yeah, a lot of people are leaving, and people leave anyway. Whenever an expansion comes out, and I should add that I only started in Cataclysm, so most of my opinion here is based on statistics that I've read up and my experiences throughout WoW so far. But generally what happens is an expansion comes out, a load of people who had quit come back to try it out and say, "Oh, I wonder what's different in this expansion." They might just level up a character to 90 and then not come back, or they might try the first raid and not come back, but you get a lot of people at the start of a new expansion come back, and then a lot of people leave because they decide it's not for them, or there's nothing new that really interests them, or people just might have just got the game and it don't have time for it anymore. But with every expansion it peters out. You do get a drop in subscriptions throughout the expansion, and it's been mostly like that since Cataclysm. In the past, I've actually got a graph here from Statista.com, and it's all of Blizzard's total subscribers from release to now. And since Cataclysm, there has been a steady drop, and then it increased again to Pandaria and then dropped back down again. But people seem to think that that's somehow indicative of the game's dying, and I don't think it is. I just think it's had its heyday, perhaps. Well, Krendor covered it pretty well in his video. When Cataclysm came out, that was a big deal. I think it was the best-selling expansion of WoW ever, and that was only the last expansion. Bear in mind, that was only 2 years ago. So to say it's gone from dying, from doing as great as it's ever done to dying in 2-3 years is a big jump. So yeah, it did really well. I think it had almost 12 million subscribers, and now it's gone down to 7.7 in 3 years. When Pandaria came out, it was at 10, so it has dropped a fair bit. But as I say, I don't think it's going to carry on dropping. I just think it's perhaps, petering out. I think it's gonna level out, and it's probably going to stay around the 7 to 10 million mark. Maybe it won't hit 10 million again. Who knows? Maybe it's going to lose a bit of popularity. But look at it this way: when WoW came out, it had about 500,000, which is really good for when. I think on this graph it says about 1 million, but I think that might be after beta. Well, it would have been, but so obviously, that's quite a lot for a game when it first came out. Guild Wars 2 only had 400,000, so WoW was doing better on release than Guild Wars 2 did, and Guild Wars 2 was said to be a WoW killer, which look how that turned out. It just goes to show that people's knee-jerk reactions to things hold very little weight. But yeah, we got BlizzCon in what is it, October? And they're going to announce the next expansion then, and I personally believe new character models, and I believe that will bring back a lot of people. I think that Mists of Pandaria was very it was something that I can understand a lot of people not liking. I mean, when you've got a panda on the front, that's going to be something that a lot of long-time WoW fans are probably going to look at and go, yeah, I don't think so. Even though, as I say, Pandaren were actually in the game before World of Warcraft came out. It's just something that I think it wasn't stylistically what a lot of people liked, and so I do think a lot of people perhaps didn't get the expansion because of that. Whereas with Burning Crusade, you had demon armies and Illidan, and you had in Wrath of the Lich King zombies, the undead, and the Lich King, pretty cool looking guy. And in Cataclysm you had a giant fire dragon and the Twilight Forces, and it's all pretty cool and gnarly stuff. And then in Pandaria you've got the Pandaren and a lovely little paradise, and obviously the bad guys I think are pretty awesome, but I can understand why that change from massive scary dragon to cuddly Pandaren might put people off. But I don't think the next expansion is going to be the same. I think Mists of Pandaria was a transitional sort of thing. I don't think the next expansion is going to be quite so cuddly, as it were. I think we're going to see more of the Burning Legion, perhaps. I think it's going to get darker from here on out, because they're building up to this huge conflict that the Alliance and the Horde are going to have to team up together on, and I think that once that starts getting into swing, it's going to bring a lot of people back. But I do think that Blizzard do have to do some things in order. I think the game has to change. I think they have to do some things in order to keep up with the times. I don't think their current model is sustainable in the long term when you've got a lot of games going free to play, or the subscription method is a bit outdated. But I understand that they don't want to get rid of it because it's how their business model is built, and it's a bit hard to just change that. But I do think that they should really heavily reduce their subscription fees. I think they make enough money to really cover themselves, and it would just make life easier for a lot of their fans. And as I say, if they're going away with the Blizzard in-game store, they're probably making a lot of money off that, and with all the stuff they're adding, they're probably going to make even more money. So I don't see why they don't make their subscriptions like half. They could do that and still make a lot of money. So I don't see why they can't do that. I think they should, and I think that's the way to go. Or if they really are gonna get out there and do something crazy and then make it free to play. But I don't see that happening. I do think that they've announced that their next game, Titan, won't be a subscription-based model, and I think that's them kind of realizing that it's an outdated concept. So I wouldn't be surprised if things do change in WoW. I know they're changing a lot of how servers work, and I think they've learned a lot this expansion of what to expect from the game and what to put in it. So I do think the next expansion is going to be really good. I think they're going to perfect a lot of things. I think we're going to get a lot of big changes to WoW, and I do hope that they figure out some way to bring a lot more people back. Even though I don't think it's necessarily dying, I just think that it does need to get with the times a little bit. With League of Legends and Guild Wars 2 is still putting up a fight, and a lot of indie games are getting quite popular as well. WoW can only hold on to the crown for so long, and if they want to have a long-term future, they have to accept that and change their business model to accommodate that. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say on those two things. But to summarise, with the Blizzard store, don't get your panties up in a twist about it. You don't have to buy anything from it. So far, none of it is changing the gameplay whatsoever. It's all cosmetic. Fair enough, the potion's going to change experience, but as I say, it's not compulsory. It's not going to really harm you if you choose not to use it, and it only lasts an hour anyway, so it's not like it's going to help you get all the way to 90. And if it does turn out that they are gonna add in things that are gonna change the game and give you people armor and shit, then I'll personally leave. But I don't see it happening. It's just they're smarter than that. Although people tend to rip into them, and I've got to give them some credit. The Blizzard know what they're doing, and I don't think that they'd undermine their own game to do that. And as I said, with the subscribers, we'll see. But I'm willing to bet that next expansion we're going to get a huge rise in subscribers again, and I think BlizzCon, even after BlizzCon, we might get people come back. So I don't think it's dying. I don't think there's any evidence of that. It's been 2-3 years where subscribers have been dropping. It just means it's reached its peak. Games do that. It happens. It's just something you've got to roll with. There's still a huge player base in WoW, way more than most games. So I don't think it's got anything to worry about. But we'll see what the future holds. I'm excited, and I'm going to stick around as long as I can, as long as they're putting out what I perceive to be quality content. So I hope you liked the video, and I hope it gave you some context on this if perhaps you had concerns. If you've got worries, please post them in the comments below. I'll see what video I can stick on top of this. I'll try and get some Timeless Isle footage so you're actually seeing something useful instead of a still screen. But we'll see. Anyway, thanks for listening to me rant on about this. As I say, post your feelings on both of these concerns in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys soon. Cheers.